I am the Lonely Necron, and welcome to my basement. So today we're going to definitely be doing something massively different. So in the 9 months that I've been doing this channel, I've noticed a few comments here and there occasionally of people saying, I don't know what's going on here. Well, okay, then I can fix that. So I'll give you a massively simplified version of what I'm doing. Kind of like an explanation of what it is that we do here. Basic idea of how a game of Warhammer 40k is played. This is actually the first Night Lord that I ever painted. And when I painted him, they didn't have Night Lord's Blue out yet, so I did him in Cantor Blue, because it was the closest thing I could find. And then not long after that, they came out with Night Lord's Blue, so he's the only guy in my Night Lord's grouping that is not actually Night Lord's Blue. He's a Dark Apostle with both of his Dark Disciples next to him. So for this little sample experience, we're just going to be playing on this small board right here. So when you're playing 40k, you got to do a lot of measuring distances for how far units can move or how far away something is to shoot with. So when you want to do that, if you've got a tape measure, that's the best thing really. But some of the boxes that I bought recently come with these 12-inch plastic ruler thingies. I'm a weird nerd, so I have a regular anti-guard stick. I don't ever use them for this, but if I had to, I could. So Warhammer 40k is a miniature tabletop wargaming kind of deal. You choose a faction, you choose some units to be in your army, you go out, you buy the models, you build them, you paint them, you play them. Most factions have a codex, kind of like a guidebook to tell you what your units can and can't do, their basic statistics, like how far they can move, how many of what kind of dice you need to do to get things done. It's really not that complicated, but it seems complicated explaining it right now. Maybe I'm just doing a bad job of it. The only dice you need for the game are d6s. So there's generally 2 players in the game. Each player has, their turn they take, and the other player takes their turn, and that's the end of the first round, and you do that until 5 rounds have passed. Some missions you can go longer. Maybe it's a different kind of game and you want to go until the other person is dead. That's my preference. So there's six phases in each round. I suppose the easiest way to do this would be to stop talking about it and just show it. So let's do that instead. So the first grouping for today's sample experience is the Night Lords, the Chaos Space Marines. We've got 2 5-man groups here. This aspiring champion has a chainsword and a plasma pistol, and there's a guy with a heavy bolter in there. And this one has a chain axe and a plasma pistol, and there's a guy with an auto cannon. No psychers, because that'd be super complicated, and yeah. Well, I am the Lonely Necron, so it'd be kind of remiss of me to do a sample game without having Necrons. So we got a 5-man squad of Necron Immortals with Tesla Carbines, and a 5-man squad of Necron Lich Guard with the sword and board. Alright, so I'm going to set these 2 groupings up over there, and then we'll talk about, discuss, and play. Alright, so I rolled to see which side was going to deploy first. The green dice are pretty much always going to be Necrons. The weird white dice are probably mostly Chaos. So Chaos got to deploy first. So they set up a unit here behind this wall, and a unit up here on this ruined building thing. So the Immortals got set up here on top of this wall, and the Lich Guard in between the piping and the building here. So because I play mostly 8th edition, I don't know if it's a 9th edition thing or not, but Necrons have a chance to steal, so if they roll a 6, that's a 5. So Necrons were unable to steal, which means it'll be the Night Lord's turn. So the first phase is the movement phase. So the M in the codex under each unit thing, it'll have a number of inches. And that's how far each unit and each model in that unit can move, basically. It's possible to advance, but that's getting into complications. So just basic, normal, simple things. So Nightlord Chaos Space Marines have a basic movement of 5. So these guys are going to move 5 inches. Because these guys are on a structure, they have to move 3 inches to get down. So that's going to limit their initial movement here. So this first squad got their full 5 inches and were able to get out from behind this wall. This other squad only got 2 inches because 3 of their inches went away coming down off of this thing. So really all they could do was get down. So once all your units have moved, they have, and that's the end of your movement phase. So the second phase is the psychic phase. If I had a sorcerer or something that could cast psychic things, this would be the phase that you would do that. Again, I'm going for simple here, so we're not going to worry about the psychic phase. So the third phase is the shooting phase, and this is the phase where you do a whole lot of measuring. I'm about to do a whole lot of measuring anyway. So in your codex, on your units things, it should have weapons in there, and the ones that have distances, that's your ranged weapons, and that's how far each weapon can shoot. These guys have pistols. One of those guys has a heavy bolter, so it's a 12-inch range on the pistols and a 3-foot range on the heavy bolter. Pretty sure the autocannon is a 4-foot range, but those guys have heavy weapons and they moved. Oh yeah, that part. So also every weapon has a specific type: pistol, assault, heavy, rapid fire. And if you move with a heavy weapon, then it's a -1 to shoot with it during the shooting phase. Since we're not doing advancing for this, we don't have to worry about that. So the 2 heavy weapons in this grouping will be at -1 to hit, and we'll discuss that in a second. I gotta check for distance on the pistols real fast. So yeah, I figured it was too far away for the pistols. They're 14 inches away, and that's 2 inches farther. But the heavy bolter with a 3-foot and the autocannon with a 4-foot, they can definitely shoot. So it'll say like heavy 3 or rapid fire 2 or something like that. And the number is how many d6s you roll. So the heavy bolter is a heavy 3, I believe. So also on the codex area thing, say WS and BS. And BS is your ballistic skill. So let's say I said heavy 3 and your BS is a 2 up. So you'd roll 3d6. Anything that's a 2 or higher is a hit. So then you would compare the weapon strength against the enemy's toughness. And this is where it gets complicated. If it's an equal number, then you're just trying to get a 4 or better on the number of dice that you manage to hit with. If it's equal, it's 4. If it's greater than the toughness, it's 3. If it's double the toughness, it's 2. If it's less than the toughness, it's 5. And if it's less than half of the toughness, it's a 2. Or it's a 6. It's just an automatic thing for me these days. I've been playing the game for so long, I don't even think about it. I know that I've had to write out explanations for it for various friends when they play me because they forget. So yeah, the heavy bolter is a heavy 3. Chaos Space Marines have a 3-up ballistic skill. Alright, so that's 3 hits. So toughness on a Lich Guard is a 5. Strength on a heavy bolter is a 5 also, I believe. So since they're equal, it's a 4 to wound. So that's 2 wounds there, and not a wound there. So these wounds... So the Lich Guard now have to do armor saves for these. So in your codex, on the thingy, it says SV. Should be a number there. On Lich Guard, it says 3 up, 3 plus. So there's 2 of these, so I gotta roll 2 d6s and try and get a 3 or better on them. Yeah, that's definitely a 3 or better. So the Lich Guard saved against that one. So the autocannon, it's a heavy 2. It's on a 4. Both of those hit. Strength 8, toughness 5. So since it's a higher strength, but it's not double, so it's a 3 to wound. That's not a wound, but that is a wound. So 1 wound, only 1d6. You rolled a 6, that's definitely a save. So since nobody else is in range, that's the end of the shooting phase for these guys. So the charge phase is phase number 4. So if you have a unit with a melee weapon, or even just a gun butt, and you're within 12 inches of another unit, which these guys are not, I guess I'll wait until we get to that point. Yeah! We'll be charging next because the Lich Guard will definitely charge into these guys, so we'll worry about that when we deal with Necrons. After the charge phase is the fight phase, and then the morale phase. I hear they're doing away with morale completely in 10th edition, so... But I mostly play 8th edition games, so I guess we'll see what happens in June. Nobody's dead over here, so we don't have to roll morale, so... That's the end of their turn, which makes it the Necron turn. So, these guys, everybody gets the same 6 phases every round. So these guys can move. My immortals almost never move when I have them on a high perch, just because they've got a 2-foot range. And their immortals just are badass. They've got the best gun. But these Lich Guard here are most definitely going to move, but they only move 5 inches because Necrons are slow. Alright, so the Lich Guard just moved forward. Again, the immortals are never going to move. So Necrons don't actually have psychers, they have these super powerful things called Gatan. And I'm not playing any today, but at the end of the movement phase is when you deal with them. Since Necrons don't have psychers, it just goes straight to shooting. Lich Guard are melee only, so they don't have guns. The Immortals absolutely have guns. They've got a 2-foot range on them. I mean, I'll measure here in a second just to doubly make sure, but I know for a fact those guys are in range. But we'll just check. I'm sure it would seem obvious that that is obviously within 2 feet, but I'm a bad judge of distance, so I just like to make sure. Alright, so Immortals have Tesla carbines. So those are Assault 2. They didn't move, so it doesn't matter. There's 5 of them, so that's 10 shots. Ballistic skill on an Immortal is a 3+. Alright, so Tesla carbines have a little special effect where every time you roll a 6, it's 2 additional hits in addition to. So there's 3 6s there, so there's 6 additional hits. So we'll take out the 3 misses, put them back in. So there's the 6 additional hits for those. Tesla carbine strength is a 5. Chaos Space Marine toughness is a 4. So since 5 is greater than 4, but it's not double, that just makes it a 3 to wound. That's a decent amount of wounds. You were not a wound. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Alright. Save for a Space Marine is a 3 or better. There's no armor penetration on the carbine, so they just need a 3. Anything less than a 3 is a dead Space Marine. So 1, 2, 3, 4 guys die. These 4 guys are dead. So, yeah, that'll be the end of the Necron shooting phase. So now we'll do the charge. So these Lich Guard are going to charge into this aspiring champion. So when a unit declares a charge, you roll 2d6. Well, they decide if they're going to do Overwatch, which he is, and he'll do that in a second. I just want to see if they make it. So they get 2d6. That's how many inches you go. 5 is not enough to make it. He still would have done Overwatch. So in Overwatch, you only hit on a 6. So he does have a plasma pistol. Certainly not going to supercharge it. That's not a 6. So yeah, that one is, or that's a 5. That's not a 6. So he wouldn't have hit an Overwatch anyway. Okay, well, it's kind of disappointing all around, but so they didn't actually make their charge, so there won't be a fight phase. There will be a morale phase. So there were 5 here. 4 died. It's just him. Pretty sure he's leadership 7. So when you're rolling morale, you roll 1d6. You add the number of people that died, and if that number is equal to or less than the leadership value of the highest person, in this case, the aspiring champion, then nobody runs away. If it's higher, people start running. So 4 people ran, or 4 people died. That's a 6. 4 plus 6 is 10. 10 is definitely higher than his leadership. So every number above the leadership is 1 model that runs away. There's only the 1 model. I doubt he's got leadership 9. So this guy runs away. And that'll be the end of the Necron turn. So the Night Lords. Just this squad left. They're definitely going to move forward because what else can they do? So these guys moved forward. They're 5 inches. No psychers, so just a shooting phase. Already measured. Everybody's actually within 12, so all 4 of these guys with pistols plus the guy with the autocannon can shoot. They're all going to shoot at these Lich Guard. So the guy with the plasma pistol, do him first. Not going to supercharge it. That's a hit. Strength 7, toughness 5, so it's greater but not double, so that's a 3. Alright, yeah, that's a wound. So a non-supercharged plasma pistol. In your codex, it'll say an AP on some of those things, and that means armor penetration. I believe that a plasma pistol not supercharged is a -1. So that means you take this guy's save, which is a 3-up, and instead of subtracting 1, you add 1 to it. So now they need a 4-up in order to save against that wound. That is not a 4-up. Alright, so they take 1 damage from the plasma pistol. Each one of these guys has 2 health, so one of these guys is down to 1. So we have 3 bolt pistols, also all hitting on 3s. And they all hit. Bolt pistol is strength 4. These guys are toughness 5. So since the toughness is greater than the strength, but it's not double, it's a 5 to wound. So they got 2 wounds on that. Bolt pistols don't have AP. So these guys, with their regular save of a 3, got it with a 4 and a 5. So the auto cannon. It did move, so it's a -1 to hit. So when it's a minus, you add that to the number. So his ballistic skill is normally a 3. So it's a -1, so it becomes a 4. So 2 shots because it's heavy 2. Hitting on 4s. Neither one of those is a 4, so he missed with both of those. Alright, so that's the end of their shooting phase. So charge phase, these guys are definitely going to charge. These guys don't have guns, so they can't overwatch. So what do these guys? Roll for the charge! Jesus, the dice hate everybody today. There's no way 4 inch is going to get them there. Yeah, 4 inches puts them there, which is really well short of that. Okay, so failed charge. No big deal. That means there's no fight phase, and since nobody died over here, there's no morale phase. So that'll be the end of the Night Lord's turn, which will make it the Necron turn. These guys have an ability called Living Metal, and it lets them regenerate 1 wound at the beginning of every movement phase. So this guy gains his wound back and goes back to 2. This is one of the reasons why people don't like to play against Necrons, because Living Metal and reanimation and just ridiculousness. But then again, it's better than fighting Tau, so I don't feel so bad. So the movement phase for these guys, the Immortals are never going to move. These Lich Guard are just going to move 5 inches forward. Maybe they'll actually make their charge. Alright, so the Lich Guard got a lot closer. They're now 5 inches away, so hopefully that'll get them in for the charge. Assuming the Immortals don't kill them in the shooting phase. No psychic phase, so shooting phase. Five Immortals, 2 shots each. Hitting on 3s, that's all of them. There's 2 6s in there, so we add 4 dice. Strength 5 from the Immortal, from the Carbines. Toughness 4 on the Chaos Space Marines, so it's higher, but not double, so it's a 3. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Jesus. 9. 11 dice. Looking for 3s. That's an entire dead squad. They're dead. Yeah, so the Immortals killed these guys off with their shooting. These guys don't even get a chance to charge. But yeah, that's basically how a game is played. You know, there's a lot of other additional rules in there, but basic simplified, that's all I'm doing. I mean, yeah, there's stuff like advancing and then we get into different kind of weapon types like the rapid fire or things that do blast damage or just the entire psychic experience. Necrons don't ever have psychers, they just have the Catan, so that's not a major concern for me, but the other 6 factions I play all have psychers. So things get kind of crazy. And there's a lot of factions out there to play. There's just a ridiculous amount of them. If you're interested in looking for like the story, the lore, the whys, the wherefores, the things, I guess, for Warhammer, there's a number of lore channels out there. There's 3 that I would definitely recommend. They can also give you background into what Warhammer is much better than I can. I know that they all 3 have videos on like the timeline and what Warhammer is and some of the various factions that you want to like maybe look into if you want to get into playing the game. It is a lot of fun. I ain't gonna lie, it's an expensive hobby. It's an expensive hobby. I mean, even I pretty much only buy models at this point. I just make my own terrain. And even then, the models are expensive. And the paint's expensive. But it's super rewarding if you've ever just needed like a couple hours to just chill, I guess, just sit down with a unit of something and just paint. Listen to some music or something, because painting these guys is almost as satisfying as killing someone else's unit with them. I know I play with a lot of units that aren't painted, but painted ones do play better. Either way, Yeah, I'd look up weshammer or majorkill or Loot No 9. Those are the three guys that I listen to and go to for ideas and lore and whatnot and all that. And yeah, that's pretty much how you play Warhammer. So if you're interested in continuing to see things like that, that's pretty much what I do here. I do a lot of big games. I do a lot of experiments where I have questions about what the various capabilities of these units are sometimes, and I want to see what happens. I started this channel because I was looking for content like this, and I just couldn't find it. I thought maybe other people might be interested, so here we are. I'm definitely going to continue to do this. On the issue of 10th edition, I'm really not sure. Everything I'm seeing about it tells me that I should be running Far Away Screaming, because it looks like it's a major overhaul of just about everything. But the other part of me is saying, no, wait till the actual, the launch. Wait till it actually comes out, and we can get a good hard look at what we're dealing here with 10th. So, but yeah, I hope this helps anybody who didn't know what was going on. I'm sure this raised a whole lot more questions. I'll probably end up doing like a more in-depth, complicated portion of explanation concerning the game, but probably not immediately. This is way different than anything I'd ever tried to do before. The dice rolls were definitely difficult for me. So yeah, good times. If you made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate it, especially with all of my rambling. Yeah, I think I said it already. I was looking for stuff and I couldn't find it, so here I am putting it out. So, if you're still with me after all this, I really do appreciate it. You have no idea. I never thought that I would 193 subscribers. I never thought I'd have more than 10. I figured those 10 to be the D&D group that I'm part of. Yeah, so thanks a lot. You guys have no idea. Thanks a lot. Like, definitely helps my mental state a lot. And it definitely helps give motivation to keep on going and to keep on trying new things and to keep buying more models and buying more factions. Like, I'm super addicted now. I was only slightly addicted before, but I'm super addicted now. Thanks for watching and have a good day.